Welcome back to another episode of the Geeks for Geek podcast.
This is your host, Charlie Radio Williams.
And I'm Mayliz.
And this is Sean Luc.
Welcome back to another episode of the Geeks for Geek podcast.
All right, and we're 38 seconds in.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Okay.
So normally I would start these episodes off by saying something, and you guys will check me, and I just decided on this episode I'm not going to start by saying anything.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm shocked. I'm really shocked.
I'm not, because you know what that means. That means he has something demonic in mind for this episode. And he wants to jump straight into it.
I have nothing demonic for this episode. Nothing. I'm actually very clear cut. Very clear cut. So clear cut that even if I had something that I wanted to say, Geektopians, you ever had a moment where you're like, God, you just needed more clarity in your life?
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, no, I'm beating around the bush.
Literally, you are beating around the bush.
Guys.
I hate the both of you right now.
Why do you hate us?
Why do you hate us, ma'am?
Because I know where this is going, and the innuendos right now is just...
Yeah, but we haven't even said the intro, so how dare we, you know, talk about innuendos and stuff like that. We're just simply saying stuff like... Hey guys, once again, welcome to another episode of the Geeks for Geek podcast. We are your hosts.
I'm Charlie Radio Williams.
I'm Mayliz, please help me.
And the face of the place, Sean Luc.
Wait, why would you say please help me? If anybody needs help, it's me.
How so?
First of all, you came over here. We didn't go to your house and dragged you out and bring you over here. You came here willingly.
I feel like in a recent episode, I talked about how I agreed to come over here to take place in the podcast because we were going to initiate an anti-bullying policy. And clearly, I am the target. I am constantly being bullied by a demographic or by a persons. Would I put a Z in there? People in
You could just say a couple.
Couple, yes, a couple. Which, you know, since you guys are a couple and I felt like I'm beating around the bush, Sean brought something to my attention, and I'm gonna say this. Hey, Geektopians, and this is for both men and women, right?
Let's clarify, because I know exactly where he wants to go with this. This is going to be a raunchy episode, and for that we apologize in advance. So go ahead.
Yeah, so we can tackle this up to being an R for romance.
R for romance.
It's been a long time since we've done an R for romance, but we're going to put this as an R for romance because Sean was asking me a question about post-nut clarity. Yes, you heard me say it.
Post-nut clarity.
That moment when you get that of the with the blah, blah, blah. And then you start to see the world in a light that you didn't see the world. And my question is, how do you define post-nut clarity?
Okay, one, that's not what we talked about. You completely butchered what I was saying, but that's fine.
But then what were we talking about?
No, it's fine, because we can go with that and then we can lead into the other stuff.
Okay.
Right? So post-nut clarity is just, and what I wanted to ask the people, I guess, you know, the Geektopians out there,
okay.
Right? Well, first of all, to me, post-nut clarity is when you're dealing with something so like focused and you just want it so badly, and you finally get it, and it's finally, you're out there and you have that sense of release, and it's like, and you're right, that moment after, it's clear whether it was good or whether it was bad, that what you did or what you thought about or whatever, you know, happened. That's my definition of post-nut clarity, where it's like you have something that's so severely like wrapped around you, right? And the moment it's released,
it's wrapped.
You don't know if it was a mistake or if it was done on purpose or if it was something that you are happy happened. Now, 9 times out of 10, when you talk about post-nut clarity, you're talking about the fact of something bad thereafter, where it's just like, oh shit, why did I do that?
Okay, so I've always thought of post-nut clarity as something a little bit different. So it's along the same lines. I always thought post-nut clarity was like that window where like, all right, so things are hot, they're heavy, it's a little bit, raunchy, super dirty, like, yeah, back and forth, you know. And you hit your volcanic eruption, and that's that attraction that you've had that made you go all in there. It disappears for a second, and I think both people look at each other, and you're like, oh my god, we're both hot messes, and I think you look at each other, and that sense of attraction kind of disappears for a minute, because you're seeing each other in a very raw state. And I always thought that what hot. I don't know. Why am I stuttering? Oh, jeez.
Talking really fast.
I know, because I need to slow down.
Well, while he's trying to get his thoughts together, May,
Oh my god.
you can go ahead and explain your thoughts on post-nut clarity and at least the definition of it.
Basically, it's when you want something, as Sean was saying, if you want something really, really bad, and then once you get it, and you're like, I got it, and now afterwards you're like, do you regret it, or you're like, nah, I'm satisfied with what happened and what I did. That's how I see it. It's very simple. It's like you enjoyed it and you're okay with it, or you regret it.
But I think that goes to the place of like, if you had, because all right, so I know for myself, I've had partners in the past and I'm putting myself out there, I've had partners in the past where I know that I was a bad performer, and I've had partners in the past where I felt that the performance from them wasn't what my expectations were. And I think that's what post-nut clarity is in this light, where like, yeah, in the moment, the attraction was there, you guys were heated up, you wanted each other, and maybe something within the chemistry wasn't there. Maybe something within the communication of the body movement wasn't there, and it just fell flat for one of the two of you. I think that's something that's probably common with people too.
Yeah.
Whether in a relationship or just having like either a one-nighter or a couple of nighters, like it's like the equivalency of, like, to me at least, when you kiss someone and right after you kiss them, you just don't feel an attraction.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like,
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So now that we've gotten the definition out the way,
Okay.
right? The question is,
There's a question.
yeah, there was a question. The reason why I brought this up.
I thought the first part was
the reason why I brought this up to begin with off the air.
Okay.
Because we were just, shooting the shit out there.
okay.
Now we're gonna shoot the shit in here.
okay.
Do you have post-nut clarity on other things in life?
Yeah, but I don't think it's post-nut clarity. I just think it's called disappointment. With it's just disappointment. Like,
No, but like, think about it. You're so eager to get something. You're so eager to have something. You're so eager, like it's literally gripping you. But then when you get it, you get that clarity, and that clarity is either A, this is exactly what I wanted. B, what the hell is this?
sir, in 2024, it's called disappointment. That's like when you're desperate for a job, you want a job, and you go on interviews and you're like, oh, this is the job that I want, and then you get the job and you're like, oh,
I don't
this
think
sucks.
that's I don't think it's the right. I don't think that's the right way,
Okay.
because it's a difference when it's like you're desperate for looking for a job, right?
Okay.
That's not the definition of what we're thinking about with post-nut clarity.
How is it not?
Because when the better definition for that in regards to real world is, you see this job that you really wanted. Like, this is the job that would define you for the rest of your life. This is something that you have been eager to do. You have been pushing yourself to get this job. You finally get this job, and it ain't shit.
That's called disappointment. All right, so it's a little bit too late for us to be PG, but post-nut clarity is just disappointment. It's just the ultimate.
But May, you were gonna say something.
So when you were saying to apply this to other things, the most common thing is food. You're hungry, you want something, you know what, I really haven't had, Chinese food for a really long time. and I would really like some Chinese food. And you go get it. You're like, yeah, I can't wait to have this. You eat it, and you're like,
I did hit the spot.
yeah, it didn't do it. It didn't taste good, and you spent money on it, and now you're disappointed in yourself and upset. Like, I spent money on this, and this was shit. And I feel like with the whole job thing, I think it's a bit different, I guess, with the job thing compared to, like, let's say, again, food. Because you're really desperate for the job. It's like, yeah, I'm really, I'm desperate for food. I'm hungry. But it's like, I really want Chinese food. And you actually go get it. And it's easy to get that food. Whereas, like, I want Chinese food. I can go buy that. I want Mexican food. I can go get that. With you, it's like, I really want this job. But you actually really have to, like, really work hard for it.
But I have a question now, because you just said with the Chinese food, it was easy to obtain.
Right.
How does that work in this situation? Because I feel like in the idea of post-nut clarity, which is, once again, disappointment, that there was a journey, there was a mission, there was patience, there was effort, it's not that it was quick to get to access, because the reason there's a level of disappointment is because there was a journey of a buildup that was an infatuation of the source, and then once you got the source, you realize that's all it was an infatuation. Like, you build on it too much. I don't think it's something that's easy. I think that's like, and I'll use camera gear. That's like, there's a piece of camera gear that I wanted. I saved up for it for weeks. When I finally got it, I was just disappointed in what it was.
So,
well, I guess the difference is because, like you said, with camera gear, you have to save up weeks for it. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going out to get Chinese food and I already have the money, it's not like I have to save up money, after a couple weeks to get that food. So it's just like, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like a quick thing. Like, I really want that. I'm going to go get it because I have the means to go get it right there and then. While the camera gear, you have to wait and save up. And for the job, you have to wait and sit for that job interview and wait for other candidates to go in. And then you sitting here waiting, like, oh my God, am I going to get the job? And, so go ahead.
So I think that in the definition of post-nut clarity and disappointment, those are two different levels. I think when you refer to it as something that has easy access, like Chinese food, that is just straight disappointment, right?
Okay.
Where post-nut clarity, like, kind of more what Sean is saying, that you waited, you infatuated so much about this thing. And in infatuation, you do waste a lot of energy. You do put a lot of energy into creating something that is like wearing rose-tinted glasses. You see what you want to see until you obtain it. But there's so much that goes into it. And that's why I use the idea of a job. And even if you didn't use the idea of jobs, you can say, okay, like vacations. You wanted to go on a vacation somewhere. You had to save up for it. And then you go on a vacation, and the vacation, even though you planned it out, it just wasn't the best experience. So there's that super level of disappointment. Or movies. There's times where we're like, oh, we want to go see this movie. Now, this is kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Because you do have access to it right there with Chinese food or any type of food. But you go see the movie and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. You stay away from reviews. You stay away from commercials. You go see it and you're like, this is trash. This is trash.
So now this is where we get interesting, right? Because I'm about to normalize positive post-nut clarity. Let's normalize positive, because I feel like there's always a negative connotation when it comes to post-nut clarity.
Can we put that on the shirt? Positive post-nut clarity? Can we?
Oh my God.
Right up there with hashtag
hot summer. Yep. So there are points in post-nut clarity, right, where people let's talk about the adult aspect of it first, where you get that off, right, and you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. Right, this is exactly, once you get the clarity, you're like, you know what? Yes, that's what I needed. Right? Same can apply for other things in life as well.
Okay.
For example, and then we'll go to video games.
Okay.
Right? Spider-Man 2. Right? For me personally, I was waiting, I was anticipating, I was waiting. We went all over with it. Like we got the PS5, we got the statue, we did everything.
Yeah.
Right? Got the game, right? Played the game, beat the game, got 100%. That was one of my first, platinum trophies on the game, right? For the PS5. And I was completely satisfied.
Okay.
Right? A couple of weeks later, you think about it, you're like, you know what? I may not be playing the game again, but it was a game that was worth me getting. Right? There are things in life for me and probably for everybody else out there that has that kind of anticipation. So, what do you guys think about more positive post PNCs, right? Out there.
PNC positive. I like that. All right, so PNCs. We should have just started off the show with PNCs. I don't think I've ever experienced a PNC.
Okay. A PPNC. Haha.
That sounds even
PPNC.
Okay, so
That
I got
sounds
it.
worse.
I got it.
That's
So,
great.
As I'll start with the adult side of PNC. No, I'm cleaning it up. So I've had partners in the past that, like, we probably went on 3 or 4 dates prior to us even having coitus. I don't know why I said it like that. But coitus. And when we did have it, like, I loved it, everything about it, but it was that enjoyment of the person. That, like the emotions was there, the connectivity was there, the relationship was a relationship. It wasn't like, there was no objectification in it. Okay. It was like, okay, this is us, where, so that would be like my adult positive, where, like, had my PNC and I was like, awesome. Another positive PNC, I think, and I'll relate this to Transformers.
Okay.
And I know this is where when I
say the Gundam kits, but okay.
not really Gundam kits, but Transformers, because, and this is going to sound so geeky, but
the show is called G is for Geek.
Everything from the War for Cybertron line and the Earthrise line and the Legacy line, it's like when I get a figure and it has the ankle pivots, I'm like, oh my. Ankle pivots on a toy. The articulation, I have yet to get a Transformers figure within the new line that I'm like, you know what? This is, to me, it's a bad figure because the ankle pivots. It does it for me. And then ankle.
No, listen, that's your thing. We're not judging Geektopians. We're not judging here.
We don't judge,
right? And there are probably people out there that agree with you.
And we're weirdos. We're weird.
No, you're not weirdos at all.
That's how kink in the bedroom. Anyway,
I figured your kink in the bedroom be hit by a Transformers toy in the back.
Oh God. So why is it people swear, and this is my closest friends, they swear that I am such a Transformers fan that if either Peter Cullen or Optimus Prime walked in the room, that I'd be like super, like, I think that'd be weird. Like, why would they want to walk in the room while I'm in the middle? But at the same time, if Optimus Prime walked in the room and gave me the thumbs up, I'd be like, Autobots, transform, roll out.
I can just see it now. Charlie's doing his thug fizzle. All of a sudden, Optimus Prime calls out. He's like, Charlie, roll out. And he just like,
don't do this. Don't
right
don't
then and
do
there.
This. Don't do this. Because then it would become like, oh, see, now I'm going to dive down this.
All you're going to hear is,
not even. It'd be like,
God.
It's just
we
the
have just
line.
turned. I said it in the beginning of this episode. This was going to be a raunchy episode.
Oh my God! And I recently asked somebody, like, what is the weirdest thing they ever listened to when they were in the middle of doing it? And now I'm listening to myself, and I'm like, if I was in the middle of adult coitus, I think if I heard the following words in the backgrounds, I would geek out, but be like kind of ecstatic at the same time. If it'd be like, one shall stand, one shall fall. Megatron must be stopped. And it'd just be lines. It'd just be random lines from the 1986 Transformers the movie.
How would you feel if your companion dressed up as a
just-
Transformer for the bedroom?
So I don't know how you brought this back to me, but
I have to ask this before I continue.
it would be right up there with an episode that we did in the early days about elf ears.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Okay. So, May, before we close out, do you have a PPNC experience?
PPNC. What the hell is a PPNC?
Positive post-nut clarity experience. PP.
You're such a child. Oh my god. Such a child. As you know, I love going to hot pots. And I remember we went there the first time during the summer. I do not recommend that because it's hot outside and it's hot inside as well because of all the soup and hot. You're gonna be sweating, so I do not recommend doing that. But after that, I kept wanting to go because I kept wanting the same type of Korean seafood soup. So one day we decided, you know what, we're gonna go, and it was freezing outside, and we live by the water, so it's freezing over here. So we make our way to go over there, and you don't really need to make a reservation there. You can just walk in and maybe wait like maybe 15, 20 minutes at least for a table. So we get there, and the person says, oh, well, by the time, we get your table, everything, will be closed by that time. So I was really upset. It was really sad. And he's like, oh, don't worry, we'll come back tomorrow. So we came back the next day, and it was more cold than it was the night before. And we're just like trudging, just walking to the place, waiting for the bus. And as soon as we got inside, we were sit down, and I'm just like this, just like, eats. I'm like this.
Ready to go.
And so we got our food, and we're eating, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, we're not really talking, we're just eating at this point. And yeah, that's mine. Like, it was just like the best thing. And I'm like, yes. And I can't wait to go back.
No regrets?
No regrets.
So
There you go. Something with no regrets.
No
that's
regrets.
that's a PPNC.
But my
no
question-
regrets to what you have done.
my question to you was
To
and
me or
I'm-
him?
to you, May.
Okay.
And this is was it so PNC that the moment the hot pot touched your mouth, it was like Food Wars?
It was like, what?
Food Wars.
Food Wars. Are you talking about the anime?
Yes.
Okay. I've heard of Food Wars. I have not watched it. So
But we've seen the memes where it's just all of a sudden you take a bite and like the whole world just seems like brighter and more rainbowy and whatnot.
It's fine. We all have a Food Wars moment.
yeah.
We're gonna close out because we've reached our marker. I just want to say, and me and May are probably gonna talk about this as we scold Sean after this episode, because this is clearly a Sean topic, and he's a dirty dog. He's a freak.
How is this a dirty dog?
He's I make fun of May, but you know what? May brings the show together. May keeps the peace amongst us. I like to think that I'm the calm, the one that, brings the goodness, the sunshine. But Sean, he's the darkness. He's the wicked one. He's the deviant. He's the deviant.
Wow.
He's the deviant one. NPC.
So first of all, it's PNC. Two,
PNC, what's
clearly,
NPC?
clearly, you're thinking people don't listen to previous episodes of the G is for Geek that is currently on YouTube right now.
And if they
right?
do, they're just going to be like, Charlie Radio Williams, we respect you. You're not the troll that everyone thinks you are. You're not the bad guy. And yes, Sean and May always bullies you every episode, and that's it.
You do realize there are episodes prior to May being on here, right? Where we've had other people on where you have done the bullying, where you have taken me off the air.
Did I do that?
Yes. Where there was, when we were doing StreamYards and you would decide, you know what? Background.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think the problem, and we're going to wrap up now. I think the problem with what you just said, and my disagreement is, I think you're referring to a different Charlie Radio Williams. The Charlie Radio Williams of today is just different.
So you grew. You matured.
You have that PNC.
I wouldn't say grow or. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are your host. I'm Charlie Radio William.
I'm Mayliz.
And I'm Sean Luc.
And as always, we are out of here.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Didn't even get to finish what he said.
A sad episode.